Right, I just wanted to show you, I'm going to set up my grid. I've just looked, I've set up on my photo, I've put a grid over my photo in Photoshop because it's nice and quick and easy. And you can change it really easily to see if you want small squares, big squares. And I've gone for medium ones. But I've worked it out, I need 7 squares across and 8 squares down. And this is a good way of working it out. So this is landscape paper. Not landscape, I've gone portrait, sorry. So A3. If I put my ruler down, usually I just go by the inches because it makes it nice and quick and easy. But 7 inches isn't that big on my A3 paper. But I'm doing a warm-up sketch first of all, and then I'm going to paint it onto my watercolour paper. So I'm just going to grab my watercolour paper. I'm going to pop that down because this is what I'm going to transfer it onto afterwards. So if I do 7, it's still not quite big enough. I want it more than 9. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make little markers on my background paper, marking up my watercolour. So this is the size of my watercolour. I'm just going to put my lines in. And once this is in, I can then measure along a straight edge. And I know it's going to fit within my watercolour painting. So I want roughly 7 squares to fit in there. So let's do a little bit of maths. It's 25 centimetres. So 25 divided by 7. So it goes to 21 or 28. Right. Let's see. If we do 3 centimetres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's between 3 and 4. So I'm going to go for 3.5 centimetres. That takes me to 1. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, that takes me to 7. I get 7 boxes in there nice and easily. So I worked out if I do 3 centimetres, it's going to be too small. 4 centimetres, too big. It's not going to fit in. So each square, I'm going to do 3.5 centimetres. So what I'm doing along the top, just from that final edge, that corner edge, just going along 3.5 centimetres each time. So 3.5 to 7, 10.5, 14, 17.5 to 21, then 24.5. So, because I've got it one end, I need to do it the bottom end, so I can line them up and have just a little tip, if you're doing this for the first time, you might want to use numbers or letters. So across the top here, I'm going to do numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then down the side, I can do letters. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So on your picture, you want to do the same thing. On your picture where you've got your grid, you want to put your numbers across the top, letters down the bottom, whatever system you're using, so that when you look at the image, I can go, right, I'm going to start from, or I'm going to look at the eyes, and I think, let me have a quick check. My first eye is 4 boxes along. It starts 3 boxes along actually, and 4 down. So 3 boxes along and 4 down. So it would be in D3 that it starts. So that's where that eye starts from. And to do a good thing, have a look in that square. Where does it start from? Is it halfway, above halfway, below halfway? And this is going to give you a good indication of where roughly it's going to sit. Also, so looking at it, it's above halfway. No, it looks halfway, and it's just coming in the side of halfway. This is the edge of it, and there's lots of shading around it. So each bit, I think, like you can start from a focal point like the eyes. So the one eye is going to sit across these 2 boxes, so across the 3rd and 4th box across. Or you might want to start methodically and start in the corner working down, whatever way works for you. So I'm just going to do a little outline. So it's the corner of his head, just the top of his head rather, sorry, it's at an angle. It just gets the top corner of that box. So that first box, that A1 box, and then it comes up and across. I'm just putting in a rough outline where I can see things and popping them in. And I quite like to start off with, hold the pencil quite far back so I can be quite loose with it. I don't have to be so precise. And then as I get to details with the eyes, you'll notice me getting closer down the pencil to really get some control. Just following this outline around the head as I can see it. And then we've got an ear popping in. It's starting, so the ear starts from the top of the 3rd box down, so in that C column. So each one you're doing, you're looking to see whereabouts in that box it sits. So the ear is taking up just a small section at the bottom there, and you're also looking at any angle. So the edge of his ear is quite flat, and then it's curving round. Just seeing the lobe, and then the lobe is goes across one whole box, and then the lobe is sitting in this next box. And he's got an earring in as well, which is great. So again, I was looking where the earring starts, which is more there, so I might even drop that ear a bit. So don't be afraid to make mistakes as you go in, because this is just your working out. This is quite good with the earring because there's all these little bits of little circles, hoop ring attaching it. And then we've got this earring coming in. The grid makes something really complicated nice and easy. If you had a really complicated photograph to work from, this would break it down. So if you had a picture of loads of pots and pans or glasses, anything that was really intricate. And then he's got hair coming in. What I love is there's lots of dark and light, so you can be really playful with all of your paint when you're doing this one. And that's his shoulder coming in. I love these wispy bits of his hair. Again, just marking out rough distances, trying to put in the edge of his face. So I'm doing it with the strands of hair, but if you find it easy, you can do it with some shading. There's some shading coming down the side here. I was putting it halfway, but it's not halfway point, it's more to the right. But whatever works for you, putting shading in, putting lines, markers. Looking at his ear, he's got a great shade, area of shade in there. Okay, let's come back, just put a few markers in for the hair. Again, you can be quite loose and playful with that with the paint later on. Just trying to get his rough hairline in. And again, I keep referencing the photo just to see what boxes we're coming across, if it covers the whole box, if it leaves any skin coming through on a section of the box. And then for each one, look how much of that box it's coming into. So this line down here, she's got a tiny bit in the corner there. Coming low. And this is where, so if I just double check that, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across and 3 down. So 3 down, 5 across, yeah, that's his forehead coming in. This is the top of his forehead. This is where his eyebrows are going to be. Comes in. His eye. This is the top of his nose, just here. And that comes across. There's a few things I know already, because the face is tilted, you see a lot more of this eye. You're only going to see a tiny bit of this eye. So there's the basic principles that you already know. And then you're just following the grid as well. So this is his nose, which looks a bit crazy like that, but as soon as you get the nostril coming in, and I think it's always the shadows that make up the nose in there. This is looking quite sharp, isn't it? So let's soften that. And then I'm just putting in shadow to help me understand what's going on. So this is the nostril. So I'm putting some shadow in there. And then this will help you when you're painting it as well, knowing where to put shadows, where to put highlights. Just trying to work out that sort of shadow there. Trying to pop this eye in, which you only see a little bit of it. So this is the outside of his face. And I've got this great moustache coming in. Again, what's quite nice, rather than doing lots of lines, what you can do is the shaping of things. So I've got this big curve from the outside of his face. There's a big curve of an area of moustache. I'm going to pop that in, and also just pop in any shadow parts that you can see. So there's shadow there, shadow there. So rather than drawing the lines of the moustache, it's quite nice just to draw the shadows. And where they are, there's bottom lip coming in there, and again the shadow underneath it. I might lift that up a bit actually. So just trying to be quite loose with this, and then this will help me by these sweeping marks, and then help me with the brush as well when I'm painting. This is the beard coming in. And you can see, don't be afraid to go wrong, change your lines. Adding lines. I'm just seeing roughly how many squares the beard. So the beard starts up here, comes down, across one square, across this one, and then it's joined and knotted here. Just trying to work out the shapes, how many squares it's coming across, because once you've got the general outline, you can then just come in, and anywhere where you're seeing shadows, there's a nice strong shadow there, there's one here, coming up, any little details. Again, with anything, I'm trying to, although it's all hairy beard, I'm trying to follow the shape so it curves round on the outside. Trying to get some of them curves coming in. Straighter in the middle where it's coming down, but you get some irregular curly hairs coming through. And then again, curving on the other side. Some of these really thick and dark. Some great shadows along here. A lot of this is in shadow. Hair. In a sec, I'm going to get really dark pencil and shading, all of the really dark shading. Right, so let's just shape this area. So this is the cheek. Let's roughly fill in those two squares. Again, that shadow for the side where the beard meets the face. Any hair that joins the face, there's always shadow, so there'll always be shading in these areas. So underneath, let's see where the moustache is starting from. I think it starts around about here. And then it's got this great shape to it. It's almost like a petal or a leaf shape. And then again, we get these lovely trying to get this curve in. So I'm bringing out the shape of things just from the shading. And here, to get the highlight of this part, is that shading underneath. It's gonna bring up the shape of that moustache there. Coming along. Just gonna try and put some of the shadowy areas in the hair, the darker sections, and this will help shape the head. There's a big clump coming up there. And this is folded in as well. You get some lovely curls coming in. So again, coming back to that grid, just seeing roughly on that grid where that hair is coming in. And then we've got this great bun of hair on top. So it's all, think of it like a bun. There's great shading in here. Let's pop some of that in. But then within that, you've got all these strands. Again, I'm using the image as a rough guide, but trying to be a little bit loose with it as well, so it's not a really rigid drawing. I still want it to look quite lively. So, working in. And again, what I love is all this shading. And underneath each of these, it's going to be great shadow. Again, because this is quite white hair, there's like white sections, yellow sections. I'm just trying to, there's a shadow here, dark hair. So, just trying to shape areas from those darker areas. There's there, and then he's looking rather young, isn't he? So that's putting in his wrinkles. And then we can come to the eye. Put a shadow in the side there for the cheek. That's just trying to shape a few things, so bring out the features, so the nose and the cheek there. Let's get that mouth back. Again, when you're working, so obviously graphite drawing, so it's black and white, so you're looking at the highlights and the shadows make things stand out. The lip gets a little bit lost, where that's going to have pink on it in our photos, paintings, that's going to stand out. Look at where the eyebrow is sitting. So it's coming across on this one, but it's mainly angling down on this one. What's that? 4 along, 4 down, so 4D. And we've got that great lid line. And that's the top of the eye. Let's pop in the bottom of the eye. I haven't got a printer, so I'm working off my screen, which is on the other side of the room. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do so much on this, and then I'm going to get closer to the image so I can see exactly where this is coming. But that's the outside of the eye. Just putting in the iris and the white of the eye, and then I think that's all his shadow. Looking too big, isn't it? There we go. So follow the lines again. So I've just taken a photo of the eyes so it's nice and close up so I can finally see it. See what I'm drawing, and also I'm going to put my glasses on. Can't believe I've left my glasses on. Oh, and also working from distance, so I can see in the photo as well the shape of things. So the hair should like sit there rather than this weird Mr. Whippy on top. So what I'm going to do is grab putty rubber and just lightly lift some of that back bun. There we go. That just makes it sit a bit better. That's nicer. So now I've got a close up of the eyes, I can start putting some detail in. What pencils have I got here? So I've got an F, a 3B and a 9B. So the 9B is for all the dark. I might start with my 3B. It's quite nice. I can see I've got a bit of a sinister angle going on there. So that lid line comes halfway across the squares, down a bit. So right, I'm going to grab my finer pencil, my F, so that I can pop in, dot the line. Got the lid. Just putting in this outer corner of the eye. I can see this iris is in the wrong place now. Let's bring that up. And then this, the inner corner of the eye where all the tear duct is all in shadow. But you do just get a few more prominent lines. Right, let's get there. I'm just switching from dark pencil to help shade me, which is the 3B, and the F, which is fine. H is good, any of your H's. What I love about faces like this, you don't have to be so perfect. Got lots of character, texture to work on. So alternating between the fine, putting a few of those wrinkles in to try and age him a bit, because he's, without them, looking really young. Just going to put the highlight on. And then to try and increase this shadow. You can see the nose shape better as well now. Right. So there's slight curve to the nose. I had it too straight and it was making it look too small. Flip into 3H and get some shadow for that eyebrow. It's so dark, this corner. Right, but I can see now. Let's see the iris coming in. Again, I'm just going to do measurement to see how big it is. That's the bags underneath. The eye dips, joins in. This is the end of the eye here. But most of that again is in shadow. I want to try and get a highlight if possible. There we go. Any bits, feel free to lift some out. And this is the side of his face that then comes around, comes down. Stop. I'm just putting some light shading around where I can see it, and then again this will help me when I come to paint it, knowing where to go darker, where to go lighter. Let's put in a few of those forehead lines in. And then key thing to do is hold it, take a look at the image now without the grid on it, hold it back and see how it's looking, what might need adjusting, what you liking. I feel like there's a bit of a shadow in there.